And so everything that I did, I was like, okay, I know this is difficult. I know I don't really want to be here all the time, but I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, put my best foot forward, put all my effort into this. And, I was able to graduate with honors. I got straight A's through high school and throughout college, which is not easy to do.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Black Student Success Podcast, where we bring you insight and guidance from successful Black professionals and students. My name is Selvin, and as always, we appreciate the support. So today we have Destiny Harris, and she is actually the first grad student that we have on the podcast. So we're definitely excited to hear her story, but she's going to be talking about what her experience has been like as she's attending the University of Central Florida. And she'll get into what she's studying and just kind of what her overall experience has been like. So Destiny, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, yes, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. My name is Destiny, and I am a graduate student at the University of Central Florida, currently getting my master's in nonprofit management. I'm originally from Orlando, Florida, and I am also a lifestyle blogger. I enjoy writing a lot, and I also have a bachelor's degree in multimedia journalism from Florida Atlantic University. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here today to talk about my journey so far in the program and just kind of what I intend to do in the future.
That's what's up. Thank you for that intro. So why nonprofit management? What was it that drew you into choosing that major?
Yes, so I was not intending on going into nonprofit management at first. I had gotten my undergraduate degree in journalism, and so at first I thought I was going to be a reporter. I thought I was going to be covering broadcast, and then when the pandemic started and I came home, I had a lot of time to self-reflect. I got into a lot of volunteer work, and I started to see a lot of issues in the community. And I wanted to get involved and make a bigger impact on my community. And I really just took that time to think about ways I could serve and help out and be that support that a lot of people were looking for during this time. So then I looked into what programs UCF had to offer, because since I am from this area, that was one of my top choices, because I knew I wanted to get my master's degree, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to get it in at that time. And so it took me roughly about like 5 months or so after I graduated, 5 to 6 months, I was thinking about it. And then I came across a nonprofit management program that I saw that UCF had online. And I thought, wow, this is really perfect for me. It's flexible with my schedule. And it allowed me to get more experience in a field that I kind of already had some volunteer experience in, but I wanted to just have a deeper dive into the management aspect of it, because I never thought about, that aspect of nonprofit before. So that was really what pulled me in, and wanting to learn more about fundraising as well, because I thought that was interesting. And then I got involved, and I've been loving every second of it. I think that more people should get involved in nonprofit work, just because, at the core of who I am, I feel like, we're given two hands in this life, one to help ourselves and one to help others. And so I really just felt called to make an impact in my community and serve others. And I felt like that was a bigger part of my purpose, was to do this work. So that's kind of what allowed me to find this master's program, and just doing that research. I kind of just fell in love with the aspect of nonprofit management.
Good. Yeah. And one thing to point out with that, and because you you see it happen. I can say that I personally kind of had this experience, but you didn't feel tied to the bachelor's program that you had in terms of thinking about what you wanted to get into for your master's. And there are those changes that happen. The pandemic, was the case for you, where it gave you that time to think about what you wanted to do and kind of really take in your surroundings at that time, and which then changed up potentially maybe what you were thinking about doing if you were just kind of thinking about going the journalism path. You made the switch, and it seems like it's really meaningful work that you're looking to do, at least within this space.
Yes, I do want to note that, I'm glad you brought that up. Your bachelor's degree and your master's degree does not have to be the same field at all. And it's really important that in between those degrees that you take time to really think about, what purpose you're trying to do with them. Because I feel like some people, and especially it happened with me too, where I felt like I was kind of stuck in one position where I had to be a journalist and I had to do reporting, and I had all this experience, and I'm like, I have to use it. But it wasn't that I was kind of getting rid of that. It was like I was just transforming it and using it in a different way. And I still feel like I bring different elements of journalism background with me into this position in nonprofit management, which I think gives me a unique outlook on the field as well, that a lot of people don't necessarily have coming into it. So that kind of gives me a different perspective to look at it from, and where I can go in with the lens of like, I know how to, interview people and like get that intake. And I know how to edit, videos and different software and kind of help with outreach in that way. Because a lot of times, that in nonprofits, they need to make sure that people are aware of what programs they have and meet people that can advocate for them. So being able to be that voice and being able to have those ideas and implement them, it all works together. And no matter what you're doing, there's always a way to incorporate your experiences from your past into what you're currently doing. So I think that is important to highlight. And I've been so blessed and grateful that I've gotten the opportunity where now I'm working with a nonprofit organization in Central Florida as a public ally of Central Florida. So in this program, I get to work with the Zebra Coalition, and they matched us with different nonprofits in Central Florida. And this one in particular works with LGBT youth and homeless, and those experiencing homelessness and those experiencing different situations can come into the center and feel like it's a safe and inclusive space for them to be themselves, for them to just be able to come into a welcoming space where they don't feel any judgment, and just being able to be a part of that and help them find those, resources in their community is just really like a really magical experience, a really impactful experience. I think that I would have never considered or gotten had I not kind of gotten out of my comfort zone and went into nonprofit management.
Yeah. There's an added benefit. It's got to be awesome to have some of those things built into your program where you're, then assigned to a particular area, addressing a specific issue, and then you're continuing to build off of that. And then you're in your first semester. So, who knows what the rest of the program has lined up for you. And I love the word that you use, transform, taking, whatever you learn in that bachelor's program, because in any case, whether it's, very direct or very indirect, there are some transferable skills that you have and can really stand on before taking that next chapter, whatever that is. So I'm glad that you used that word. Now, one thing that you mentioned is that the program is online. And I don't know if, with the pandemic happening when it did, and then just kind of aligning with when you graduated, I don't know if you had a little bit of experience of having online classes, but tell us about what that's like, just specifically being in an online program, how that helps you, and if there's anything that you needed to do to kind of prep for that type of format.
Yes, absolutely. There is I would say, a big difference with online versus in-person classes and learning. I was fortunate enough to the degree where in my undergraduate experience, I took online classes. So I had a bit of familiarity with using online software and things of that nature. And then I consider myself a very like independent learner and I kind of take initiative on that stance where, growing up, my mom never had to tell me, to do my homework or lecture me on anything like that. I was just always making sure that like whatever needed to get done school wise was done, because that was really just my main focus and my main job at that time. And so I think that even if you do have other work, if you are working full time or part time, you can still do online work as well, because it is finding that balance. But they do give you the flexibility as an online learner to try to accommodate your schedule and your life outside of school. So, for example, with my graduate program, a lot of the assignments are not due like every single week. It's usually a couple of weeks they give you to work on an assignment. And you may have a few projects here and there that aren't due until the end of the semester. So if you pace yourself and you get organized and make a plan of how you want to go about doing those assignments, then it becomes a less stressful process. And I think that, taking that into consideration, not everybody is an online learner or set to learn online. Everybody, there's different types of learners, the visual and auditory learners, and people that are better to do face-to-face learning as well. Sometimes they need that communication hands-on and things like that, which I totally understand too. And I think that certain aspects of my undergraduate degree definitely needed to be done in person, because sometimes people don't have access to the same resources that they do in the classroom. And so that can be a hindrance as well. So it's important to know what resources are at your disposal. I think there are a lot of resources for online students. I think that you shouldn't let online degree hinder you from, learning and getting the most out of your experience. You can still have a really successful and enriching experience as an online learner, whether you're doing it with a university or college that is degree program that is out of state, or you're in state. If this is your first time going into undergraduate program or graduate program and you're switching from in-person online, it is an adjustment, but it can be done. There are ways to do it. There are ways to get organized, and you just have to make the best plan that works for you.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you mentioned the flexibility part of it. And it gives you an opportunity, especially if you have different situations outside of school. Maybe you have a family, maybe you're working full time, or maybe even working part time, or just have something else going on outside of school. So I think that does give you that flexibility. And it's great that you identify yourself as being that independent learner and being able to kind of get self-started when it comes to assignments and figure out the pacing and scheduling when it comes to getting things done. Whether you are in that type of space or you feel like you need a little bit more structure, a little bit more of a push, I think it's great to identify that before getting into something, or, before identifying the flexibility and hearing that sounds good, and then getting into it and learning that, you need the teacher a little bit more to give you that push. So, it's great to identify that learning style that you have. I'm sure there's plenty of learning quizzes out there that you can even get into if you don't even know where you kind of stand. So I think that's really, two really good points about, how that's been working for you and how you actually figured that out before getting into it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And and then also, like you said, like if you're not sure what kind of learner you are, there are like quizzes you can take and assessments you can do to kind of figure that out as well. And then I think even though in grad school, professors are a little bit more like relaxed in the sense that they're not going to kind of micromanage what you're doing. They are still there to help you because that's their job. So if you reach out to them, they will answer you. It might take a little bit of time, but you do have that support system of your professors and advisors and other mentors who are able to guide you, and also just taking advantage of your classmates too, because majority of the time they also are working full time or they have families. And so, asking them how they balance it and having that support network is really important too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which goes into our next question of who opened doors for you, and that could be in grad school, that could have been in undergrad, but sometimes people have a little bit of a hard time trying to find that support, find mentors, or find the right classmates to link up with and be accountability partners or whatever it takes to help get to whatever they're looking to achieve. So who was it for you that got you to where you're at now?
Yes, for me, it was kind of a collective effort with a lot of the supporters in my life. First and foremost, my family has always been there for me. From a very young age, I've been surrounded by a lot of educators in my family. My aunt, she was a math teacher, and she actually was one who helped me a lot with that subject because it was not my favorite subject, being math. I did kind of struggle with that one a little bit more. But she was really right there with every little assignment, every little question I had. And then also just seeing how my dad was, he did a little bit of teaching with criminal justice, and he works in law enforcement. And so he always emphasized heavily getting an education. He got his master's from Florida State University. He got his degree, and he wanted me to get my degree from there too. But I applied to their USF, and then a few other places. I applied to UCF and a lot of different places because of his influence. And also my grandmother, she was an elementary school a middle school teacher for a while. And my grandfather was also a dean of Deltona High School here in Florida. So I could go on really, but a lot of influences with education there. And that kind of led me to really be the student that I am, a little bit of an overachiever. And I think also the teachers in my life outside of my family that I had in the classroom were really important to me as mentors. I had one teacher who was my English teacher, and she really said something when I was a freshman in high school that always just stuck with me. And she's told us that the work that we're doing now and the decisions that we're making now are going to affect us not just this year, but for the rest of high school, for the rest of our educational career. Everything that we do has implications. So what you do today is going to affect you. So even if you think you can slack off now, it's going to, eventually catch up to you, and it's going to shape you into the learner you are in the future. And so for whatever reason, that stuck with me. And so everything that I did, I was like, okay, I know this is difficult. I know I don't really want to be here all the time, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to, put my best foot forward, put all my effort into this. And, I was able to graduate with honors. I got straight A's through high school and throughout college, which is not easy to do. I don't think I could have done it without a lot of the support from my teachers and family. But, and at the time, they really emphasized school being my main focus. They did not want me to work in high school. They're just focus on school. That's all you need to do. And I would say too, I took AP classes, but I don't know if I would recommend AP classes if you're still in high school. I think trying it out if you can is good. But also doing dual enrollment programs, because those are really good as well. And I wish I would have done more of that in high school, because you do get to see that impact right away. And you get to see those grades you make do carry over depending on the program that you're going into and the university you attend. But, there's nothing wrong with taking on dual enrollment classes if you can. There's nothing wrong with community college if you go there first. That's actually a better way to do it, in my opinion. I didn't do that, but I thought about it and really considered that as an option. And then, yeah, and then when I got to undergrad, I did have mentors. One mentor I had in the College of Education, and her name was Dillis, and she was just very sweet, very helpful. She actually introduced me to my advisor, who ended up being the advisor for my club, which is American Sign Language Club. I was actually the president and founder of that organization on the FAU campus. So that opened a lot of doors. I think just working with other organizations on campus, I got really connected to the community as a whole, worked with the student government office a lot. And just, yeah, you meet so many different people. I think if you have the opportunity to go away to school or go live on campus, even if you're not that far from home, like do it, even for a little while. I think it's just a really spectacular experience. It's very enriching, and like you just meet so many different people from, yeah, I met people from different countries, all walks of life. It's just really amazing. But yeah, I think really just my family, my teachers, and just having those mentors really shaped me into the person I am today and kept motivating me throughout my career.
That's what's up. Really, really great experience, and a lot of great people around you. And it has, led to all the different things, kind of sequentially, when it comes to the progress that you made as a student and, professional and everything. So that's awesome to hear. Now, when it comes to the, success, everybody has a different definition of that. It could pertain to their personal experiences or just things that they look to aspire to obtain or achieve. What is that definition of success for you?
For me, thinking about success and what that looks like, I would have to say just waking up every day and just trying to be the best version of myself. If I'm doing something just a little bit different from the day before, that makes me a little bit better. Working a little bit harder on my studies and getting more experience with the job that I'm doing. All those little things just really help me, being the best sister I can be, the best daughter, makes me just kind of have more confidence in myself and feel more like a successful person. I think overall, it's like the most all any of us can do, really.
Yeah. No, awesome definition. Thank you for that. Now, finally, before we wrap up, just to know you a little bit better, the pandemic has been something. I don't know how you want to describe it, but it's been something.
Mm-hmm.
But on a positive note, a lot of people have, taken that time, kind of being inside and, reflecting, making changes, learning things. What about
Mm-hmm.
you? What has been something that you learned, during the pandemic?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I actually learned a lot of things. I don't know if I can pick just one, but for me, like just kind of having that light bulb moment of knowing that I wanted to do nonprofit came from working and volunteering. I actually volunteered online for a little while as a marketing and communications volunteer with an organization called Hopeful Inc., and they're based out of Sacramento, California. So that actually allowed me to kind of connect with the different group of people in that area. They focus primarily on helping African American community, underserved communities, working with those experiencing homelessness and those seeking out and needing mental health counseling. They also had programs for kids with youth, actually, with entrepreneurship and a kids coding program. So I got to write a lot of their press releases and blog articles. They knew I had a blog because I actually started my blog during the pandemic, which is Educated Black Queen. I don't think I would. I know I wanted to start a blog. I remember looking back at a vision board I made like a few years ago, and I had a blog on there, and I forgot I even put it on there, but I knew in the back of my mind that was always something that was in me. Like I wanted to create this blog. I wanted to write things to empower other young Black women and inspire them to be the best versions of themselves and just have a really uplifting space and do that through a blog. So when I was able to do that, that actually, they saw that and they were like, oh my gosh, we want you to, help us with our articles and things like that, which was really, really great to see that come full circle. And now I get to like do a lot more with the blog. I have a podcast for it now, and that's been going pretty well. I love doing that. And I think also learning how to do audio editing in undergrad, and as a journalist, like that helped a lot too. So it all kind of ties back in. But yeah, definitely enjoyed learning how those aspects of volunteering, because I never looked at volunteering in that way or thought about online volunteering before the pandemic and thought about blogging. So I was able to start my blog then and volunteer. And I actually, was able to spend more time with my family too. We started a garden together, which was really nice, in our backyard. And it's something about just like being in touch with nature and like growing things with your own two hands. Like it was just really like also an enriching experience. So I really enjoyed that. And then I just got more in touch with myself and more in tune with who I am and my identity apart from school and apart from work, just learning more about myself, and what that looks like. So yeah, it was a really self-reflective time, and in a weird way, I was just very grateful for it. So not in the moment, but afterwards, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I learned a lot. So
yeah. I never heard of online volunteering. I mean, I guess that's not a far-fetched thing. I mean, maybe we've got this, pandemic bias or whatever, but it doesn't seem like a far-fetched thing even before then, just to have some type of space of volunteering online. But I know that probably sprung up a lot. So dope that you can make that impact. Gardening is something I kind of want to get into. So that's really awesome that you're able to do that with your family, and
yes.
We'll have to catch up with you and see if anything grew after this season. So you're in Florida. We're in Chicago. It's cold. So
yeah.
So
yeah.
when we have the summer and part of the spring, and that's kind of all we got. So that's awesome to hear. So Destiny, thank you so much for sharing your experience as a student and getting into grad school, and definitely best of luck to you. We're going to actually talk about the blog that you mentioned, Educated Black Woman, in our next episode. So we're definitely going to get into more of that. Let the people know how people can reach you in case they have any questions, either about nonprofit management or going to grad school or just anything about your school experience.
Yes. So you can actually contact me. I'm on LinkedIn under Destiny Harris. Also, my email is my last name, Harris, and then T as in Taylor, destiny@gmail.com. And then you can also reach out to me on my blog. I have like several forums with my social media linked to that as well. And it's www.edublackqueen.com.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. And we'll put all that in the description. So thanks again, Destiny, and thanks to everybody who's been watching and listening. Feel free to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's at Inquire Higher. Check out our website, inquirehigher.com. We got a lot of great resources there. And again, tune into our next episode with Destiny as she talks about her lifestyle blog and everything that went into that. So until next time, peace.